Are you tired of having to constantly deal with acid reflux, despite trying all the usual remedies? In this video, I'm going to share with you some of those little, unknown, potentially even secret factors that may be contributing to your acid reflux symptoms or could potentially even help you address or solve your acid reflux once you become aware of these. Now, some of these factors may be somewhat esoteric. These are not your typical items that you're going to hear on many channels. In fact, I think if you're in for some woo-woo, then this video is for you. So stay tuned because I'm delving deep into these other secret factors. I'm going to be sharing with you 7 of these metaphysical, esoteric, secret, whatever you want to call them, factors that could be behind your acid reflux or could help you solve your acid reflux. So without further ado, please remember, this is not medical advice. This is going into the woo-woo. All this is for informational purposes only. So let's get right into business and let's get ready to ramble. No, I'm joking. We're going straight into business. No rambling out here. So let's get into the first item. The first item is not ascribing too much of importance to any specific treatment that you are following. Now you may be wondering, what the hell am I talking about? I'm saying if you read about something that you think is going to help you heal from a condition and you attach to it an expectation that I'm going to achieve this because I read it and I just know it's going to work. When you do that, you're sabotaging your own healing. Now this happened to me on so many different occasions. Oftentimes I used to go down a rabbit hole and be so convinced, like reading all this stuff and reading all these testimonials and hearing about how it's working for other people. And I would go down this path with such rigor and strictness, expecting that it's going to work for me. And my mind is so convinced and so much of expectations are placed on it. I give it so much importance in my mind that I'm willing to go to extreme lengths to ensure that I'm following everything to the T. And when I do this, I end up oftentimes with the same acid reflux symptoms coming back. And you may be wondering, but why is it that you're not healing? It works for everyone else. Why is it not working for you? And this is one of the primary reasons I think that is behind a lot of why we don't heal from acid reflux. And it's a metaphysical concept, but something that I think plays a profound effect on your healing. So whatever modality you're practicing, don't ascribe too much importance to it, because when you do, you create an energetic imbalance. You create an energetic imbalance that often leads you to either experiencing other health outcomes that are adverse and that can affect you, or your condition may not heal at all because you put such a great expectation on healing from this condition. So rather approach it with a neutral form. And I know sometimes it can be really hard, but try and perhaps put out a thought into your mind to say that, what if this doesn't work? What if I don't achieve the healing that I'm seeking from this? Now, I'm not saying over-rotate and gravitate around it, but try and reduce that expectation or the importance that you're placing on whatever practice you're following from healing your condition. So if any of that resonated with you, or it's something you've put into practice before or you've experienced, I'd really love to hear from you. So please drop it down in the comment section. Let's move on to the second item. The second item is another one of these esoteric or secret items that nobody really talks about. And that is that if you've been experiencing acid reflux like I have for many years, it often becomes a comfort zone. The regurgitation often becomes a comfort zone. So you'll end up eating or overeating or constantly eating in order to create those symptoms, even though it's miserable. But because it's become a sense of a new form of normalcy, it becomes a uncomfortable comfort zone. Now, what does that mean? It means that you've basically programmed yourself with this habitual feeling that often results from acid reflux. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but I know whenever I used to gravitate towards eating certain foods, I used to overeat certain foods, or I used to be constantly eating. Now that constantly eating may be from you trying to constantly eat because you know these acid reflux symptoms are coming, so you're trying to push something down your throat so that you can prevent the acid reflux from reaching your mouth or your esophagus. Or you could be just generally eating so much because you want that reaction, the acid reflux reaction. So something to really put a lot of mindfulness to, because the next time you catch yourself doing this, you can stop yourself in the tracks and say, wait a minute, I don't need to be carrying out the same action. I can change this behavior. Maybe it's taking a walk. Now, I often fail at this whenever I have poor sleep or my mental faculties I can feel are being drained energetically from other aspects. So something to pay attention to, identify those normal triggers. Is it something that's constantly occurring at nighttime or when you're stressed? Or are there certain trigger factors that you can eliminate to help you overcome this constant gravitating towards these comfort zone items? This third item is somewhat related to the second item, but also a little different. The third item is bad behaviors and addictions, specifically addictions. Now, if you're someone who suffers from addictions, perhaps you're addicted to sweet foods or addicted to spicy foods or whatever it is that you're addicted to as a food, you tend to overeat these foods or eat them unconsciously or just out of natural habit. Whenever something happens, you just often run to those foods and you consume it as a coping mechanism. And these foods, because you tend to overeat them, they may not even need to be trigger foods, so your mind may not be rationalizing it correctly, but you tend to overeat these foods, and they often result in you experiencing acid reflux symptoms. I'll give you an example. I often tend to gravitate towards nuts, and like I mentioned in my previous videos, things like nuts are very hard to digest because they have a lot of protein and fat content. But because I like those crunchy feelings that nuts give, I tend to always gravitate to these as a snack, and because I tend to overconsume these, they can often result in acid reflux reactions. So it's something that I need to be more mindful of to try and stop myself in my tracks to getting these. So notice the triggers. The solution to this problem, at least up until now that I've come across, is to try and bring more awareness. Try and bring more awareness to the triggers that are causing you to act unconsciously, to gravitate towards these addictions. Maybe it's chocolates for you. I know chocolates was at one point in time a huge trigger for me. I used to often devour an entire slab of chocolates all by myself in a matter of few minutes. That's how bad it was. But it's that addictive cycle and those unconscious behaviors that often leads us to consuming these foods that we want to try and stop in its tracks and nip it in the bud, as they say, so that you don't experience the nasty acid reflux symptoms that arise from it. Okay, so let's get back into the esoteric and the secret stuff again. This item is one of profound impact, and it's something that may not resonate with all of you, may resonate with some of you, but this is considering your astrological impacts. Now, astrology is something that deeply interests me. Oftentimes, it lays out the blueprint for your life in terms of what factors will be influencing you, and it also helps to determine what medical conditions or health conditions you will be facing as a result of that specific blueprint for your life. So when one has certain combinations or certain aspects in your astrological chart, it can often foretell your experience with acid reflux or digestive issues or something along that lines. Now, those can have a profound effect on your overall health. And once you become aware of it and you go down that rabbit hole, it can become easier to identify when you are going to be encountering some of these health conditions. Now, some people are able to go beyond it, and I think it really requires a lot of discipline, spiritual practice to be able to go beyond it and override a lot of the astrological energies that are impacting your life. And I think part of it also relates to the awareness that's being brought to the situation, because once you become aware of the energies, you can help to then shift it, because you're approaching it with consciousness rather than approaching it unconsciously and allowing these energies to just direct your life without you having a conscious effort being put in place to try and shift it into a more positive direction. Now, oftentimes these astrological factors have a certain periods. In Vedic astrology, they call it a Mahadasa period or Antardas period, which is a shorter form of it, or the sub form of the Mahadasa, and that basically tells you for how long you're going to be experiencing a certain condition, because those energies from certain planetary forces are very active in your life. So that is something that may be a bit too woo-woo for some of you, but maybe something that you want to consider, because these factors can help to explain a lot of the energies that are impacting our life. Like I said, this video is all about the esoteric stuff, so hopefully I didn't scare any of you away. Now this next factor is something that I'm going to bring you back to reality, and something that hopefully all your minds will be able to easily grapple. This item is related to posture, and hopefully everyone can understand posture. This is paying attention to your posture when you're consuming a meal. Are you slouching? Are you sitting up straight? Are you eating? Where is your mind at the time? Because if you tend to be in a sluggish posture, and your mind can tend to be thinking negatively. When we look down, there's different frequencies that affect our life. Sorry, I'm getting into the metaphysical all over again, but there's different frequencies and thoughts that generally pervade your mind when you hold a certain body posture. And I never used to believe any of this. I thought, what the hell, man? I don't know about all this stuff. This is way out there stuff. It doesn't make any sense. But the more you start to put attention to it, you'll start to notice some sort of difference with how you maintain your posture. When you're sitting in a very upright position and you're holding your body well and you're consuming your meals, it's in a different state of mind. It allows for better assimilation of the foods and more mindfulness to be applied to the actual consumption of foods, and that can often help to reduce a lot of the acid reflux symptoms. There's also this analogy that when you're sitting slouched and you're all curled up over your meal, your organs are all squished together. So when you're consuming, you're giving it less space for the digestive system to be able to do its normal functions. So it's contraction and expansion and the digestion of food. So that's something else that you may want to be mindful of as well. The sixth item, maybe not that far off, and bringing it back a little closer to home, a little bit closer to your reality, still a bit of esotericness to it, and that is meditation, yoga, exercises, things like foam rolling. All these things are great practices to incorporate into your life. The meditation aspect can help to bring more awareness. So if you're someone that struggles with addictions, bad habits, then meditation can help to help you boost up your awareness so that you become more aware of these triggers. And it's not something that's easy. I struggle with meditation. My mind's all over the show. But through consistent application, hopefully it helps make a little bit of a difference, even if it's that minute difference, even if it's that baby step towards your healing journey. Why not? Yoga, on the other hand, is good for stretching and also bringing more awareness, because you're now stretching out the body, you're allowing for better flow of energy through your body, and that can also help to allow for energy to flow more freely, because there may be some energetic blockages that are causing your acid reflux symptoms, because the energy is not flowing and it's manifesting as a health condition, as a digestive issues that are caused by these energetic blockages. Another aspect I mentioned was foam rolling. And the reason I mentioned foam rolling, and something I didn't really know, because I used to take the foam roll and roll it really fast, trying to loosen up the muscles before I go for a run or do some form of exercise, thinking that, well, that's good enough. But this is a different type of foam rolling. Foam rolling in a much more slower fashion, where you bring awareness to where the tension is in your body and try and release that. Because oftentimes when our muscles are very tense in certain locations, it could also be linked to some sort of emotional blockage or some energy that's been stuck in that specific area that is then being released when you slowly foam roll and feel through it and allow for that emotion to be released through the loosening of those muscles, and allow yourself to feel that emotion so that you can release it. And when you do that, it can help to allow for better flow of energy through your body as well, and allow for a lot more healing to take place. Like I said, I'm getting into all these esoteric stuff because this is not your conventional video. Let's get back to reality. What is number 7? Number 7 is doing things mindful that you enjoy. Trying to bring more happiness into your life. Try to identify those activities that spark that little happiness within you. Maybe it's making videos, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's going into nature and just forest bathing, whatever it is that gives you that little happiness. I try and identify those aspects that give you that happiness, because that's going to allow you to also become more mindful. Because a lot of times when you're doing activities that we don't enjoy, our mind tends to gravitate elsewhere, and we start to think negatively, and we don't have that good heart-brain coherence, and it tends to be sucking or draining all the energy out of us. So you want to incorporate more and more of the activities that make you happy, that bring that element of joy, and that can allow you to relax more deeply. And maybe it's breathing practices. Think about whatever it is that allows you to experience joy. And even if it's difficult, I know at first it was really hard to even identify. I thought I never liked anything. I was like, everything's miserable. But through trying to put more awareness into your daily life And it doesn't need to be something that's so far out, like maybe you need to take a holiday and that's the only time. That's not frequent enough. We need to think about the small things. Like I said, maybe it's going out for a run every day. Maybe it's shooting videos, whatever your hobby is, whatever it is that is bringing you happiness, you need to be doing more of that so that you can allow for better flow of energy in your life. So with that, hopefully I didn't bore you, hopefully I didn't scare you away with all these different items. But if any of that resonated with you, I invite you to like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel for much more in-depth videos on these topics. I will be delving deeper, but I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What do you want to hear more of? What areas do you want me to cover in greater depth in future videos? And with that, thanks so much for watching this video. Thanks so much for staying right until the end, and I hope to see you in my next video.
I don't want you to be talking about a funny business. Don't ramble along. We don't like all your rambling. You're talking too much. Please don't ramble.
If you're someone that's suffering from acid reflux, I highly encourage you to check out my acid reflux series, where I take you through my journey in navigating this chronic condition and where I share with you my tips, the supplements, diet, as well as some of the lessons that I've learned and mistakes that I've made along the way that can hopefully facilitate you on your journey. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more amazing content and health and wellness updates, where I take you through my journey navigating mind, body, and soul wellness.